Man, listen, I'm still, constantly, I want to say disbelief at this particular point in time, man, but it's just a surreal moment. Guys, nobody really knows, how excited I am, just to be a part of this organization in many ways than one. Just following up such a powerful dynasty with that is enriched in so much prestige, lineage of success, that for me, a lot of people would hide from the notion to do certain things, but for me, man, I think this opportunity is something that I wake up pinching myself each and every day, and it's so surreal. Coming down one Patriot place each and every day, and seeing the whole ambiance. It's not only that, but seeing so much support around the city of Boston and Foxborough, and it's just such a great environment, for not only myself but players included. And it's just crazy. I just found myself putting on shirts that's like, oh my God. I don't know when that moment is going to be, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm supposed to do while I'm a member of the Patriots, so that sooner or later it will click that this is the norm.
Cam Newton from last week talking about his experiences so far as a New England Patriot, Chris. And one of the talking points last week came from Kyle Love, former Patriot, former Panther, the notion that Cam Newton was coddled in Carolina. He's not going to be coddled in New England because Bill Belichick didn't coddle Tom Brady. He doesn't sound like a guy who's been chewed out in the film room yet. And I don't know that that's ever going to happen, because you've got to keep Cam Newton in a positive state of mind. You've got to keep him with that energy, with that fire, with that passion. The challenge becomes what happens when you get to it. And it may not happen. It may not happen all year. When you get to a spot where it's not going their way, and we've seen him before, we've seen the demeanor, we've seen the disappointment, we've seen him just want to pack it in and go home that day. When is that moment going to arrive? When he's going to want to pinch himself for a very different reason?
Well, they're going to break him in. They will. That I can promise you. And he'll realize pretty quickly within being there that it's about today. It's about the next thing. Don't worry about all the external motivation factors, all those things. New England's always going to stay on that. Belichick, McDaniels, that coaching staff. And it's all going to be about the next challenge and the next obstacle. So he's going to realize right away that sulking or being disappointed about a throw or a decision he made in practice, he's going to see that, this group doesn't care in New England. They're not on the field going to be like, Cam, what are you doing? And one of the things that'll always jump out to me about New England was during practice, it was practice time. When we get in the meeting room, we'll coach you and tell you what you did wrong. But on the field, we want you to play and go and not be looking over at the sidelines wait, let me get my instructions for mommy and daddy over here. Bill is not into that. So he's going to learn from that. And then I would think what also breaks him in a little, Mike, is just, of course, he's getting a feel for, I'm sure, how things are communicated during meetings. And he's starting to realize, whoa, even when you do good here, they're still pretty stern about talking to you and what you did and coaching you up. So, man, I better brace myself for when I do something bad, that it's not going to be like, oh, Cam, don't worry, we'll get him next time. I think he's got to probably have a good sense of what that is right now. And, of course, with his motivation and the way he was screwed over this offseason, hopefully he'll be ready to accept all those challenges.
Nothing against Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
He walked into that job with Cam Newton as the number 1 overall pick in the draft, the Heisman Trophy winner, and he was a lot younger in 2011 than he is now. We all were. But I think it's a different mindset. It's a different approach than when you are Bill Belichick, when you have the 6 rings that you've won as a head coach plus 2 others as a defensive coordinator, when you have a guy who was basically left for dead by the NFL and nobody wanted him. You have a lot more freedom to give him the kind of coaching that maybe he would have benefited from in Carolina, but the circumstances didn't allow it. And speaking of circumstances, the circumstances caused him to be available into late June, caused him to be overlooked. He was asked last week if he's extra motivated based upon the way things ended in Carolina. Here's what he had to say.
Look, I wake up mad. You know what I'm saying? I don't need the fact that I'm not able to see my kids on a regular basis. That's what makes me mad. So At the end of the day, for me, I'm not going to dwell on the past. I think I'm a person that's a self-motivator. And, even though the past is the past, I'm not going to keep looking back. And, for me, it's just turn the page and move forward. I wish those guys nothing but the best. And, I hope that the feeling is mutual and moving on.
Got a mature and a proper response from Cam Newton, and I think at his core he gets it. He understands what the Panthers were trying to do. They were trying to get trade value for the final year of a contract that paid only $19 million, and of course, he would have gotten a new contract as part of that, but the problem is he wasn't healthy. You throw in the pandemic. You throw in the desire to try to get value for the guy who was the first overall pick in the draft. You throw in the lingering health questions. It becomes impossible to work it out.
Yeah.
Do we wish that they would have just cut him when they cut Greg Olsen right after the Super Bowl? Absolutely. But, as much as we can fault the Panthers for how they handled it, and I don't think they handled it perfectly by any means, the circumstances to me had a lot more to do with what happened.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. You're right. I mean, hey, I would have liked to have seen it a little bit, a little smoother for Cam Newton as far as, his release and all of that. But you're right. They were in a tough position. They were certainly trying to protect their own interests to help their own football team. But one thing I think, worth hitting on too, you talk about that environment with Cam Newton when you're the number one pick in Carolina Panthers. It's very common in football. It really is. And I'm sorry to say it or if that's disappointing to people, but yeah, in certain organizations, yes, the star players, you come in and you perform at a star level right away. For lack of a better phrase, I think I've said this before. It's just, they roll out the red carpet. You become almost king of the organization. A la like a Brett Favre with the Green Bay Packers and then Aaron Rodgers taking over. They become almost bigger than the team because they're so damn good and they do so many things where they go, well, our team wouldn't have won this game today. That guy won the game for us today. He helped the team out like immensely, and that's where Cam Newton was. So, yes, because of that like rolls downhill into bad habits, between him and the way he's coached, and he's allowed, a little flexibility with how he acts. None of that goes on in New England. None of it. And that's going to be the refreshing thing for Cam Newton. I think he's going to like it in a lot of ways. And I think we've seen a lot of players be able to adapt to that. And I think the more time that goes on, the more I feel like he is going to adapt, and this is going to be a good thing. And this won't be the Ocho Cinco, Albert Hainsworth failed, chemistry experiment.
Or the Reggie Wayne, see you later.
Or that one
training
too.
Camp. This isn't fun anymore. I don't think that's going to be happening with Cam Newton. At some point, it comes down to X's and O's, however, and he's got to learn that offense. The offense has to adapt to him. We've had that conversation in a lot of different ways as it relates to Tom Brady. We haven't talked about it much as it relates to Cam Newton. He was asked last week about Josh McDaniels comparing the Patriots offense to calculus. Here's some of what Cam Newton had to say.
First time I called him, we were both excited just to be on the phone with each other. Then all of a sudden he just said, "Hey, bro, this explicit is calculus," and he said it, and it was just funny. It was just from that whole 15-minute conversation. That's the only thing that I just remember. Calculus.
He's a smart football player. He's played a lot of football. He's seen a lot of stuff. So, guys in our league, I think rarely have the type of success that a player like he has had in his past without, understanding the games.
They need to work on the lighting and the spacing for some of those. Josh McDaniels, like, bam, right there. It's like we walked up to his car with a flashlight and a video camera.
But that's New England. They don't even give a damn. They don't care. He's literally like, can I get the hell out of here and go coach the team? I mean, that's why they're awesome. That's why I always respect them. It's just a different way of life. I mean, literally, I can picture Josh. He probably walked in there. They were like, "Hey, can we fix the light?" He's like, "Nah, the hell with it. Let's go." And they just go. But, I mean, what's your thoughts on hearing Cam and what he said, or in Josh and what he said there, Mike?
I think the bottom line is this. They're not going to give him anything more than they think he can handle.
Yeah.
And that's part of the test, right? They know that they have a guy who hasn't been in that system. They also have a guy who brings to the table a skill set that his predecessor didn't have. And you have to factor that into which plays you're going to call.
Sure.
I mean, good coaching is taking the guys you have and enhancing the things they do well and covering up the things they don't do well. And that's what they're in the process of figuring out with Cam Newton. And my guess is Josh McDaniels started that process before they even signed him.
100.
Before they decided to do it.
100%.
Bill says to Josh, what would we give me an idea? We want to sit down and work this out. What plays would we run with Cam Newton? I want to see film. I want to see what he's done, what we've done, and how you're going to make it fit before we do this.
Yeah, exactly right. They're too well thought out there in New England. Even added to that, I don't think they would have even signed Cam Newton unless they got the answers they wanted in their investigation process of Cam Newton and whether they thought he could fit their football team, unless they got answers that they wanted, in that process. I think if they got answers like, ooh, I'm not sure he'll be able to learn, that calculus playbook and all the rules if they got those type of answers, they might have not done it. But I think they were led to believe that, yes, like Josh just said, Cam's a smart football player. He's played a lot of football. Yeah, is he going to be Tom Brady, mad scientist, reading defenses, all that? No, maybe not. But you're right. They're going to be able to formulate an offense around him that they've never had in New England.
I had a flashback there to when Ron Rivera was coaching the Panthers and the light bulb finally was coming on for Cam Newton and it was starting to really work for him. He explained to me at the time, Mike Shula, then the offensive coordinator, went back to Auburn and found the stuff that Cam Newton liked to do. They've already done that in New England.
Yeah.
They've already found the stuff Cam Newton likes, and he's in the process of learning at New England.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.